You know, when my son Bob was 8 years old, we had already owned 3 different dogs. We just couldn't housebreak them. It just couldn't be done, and we very sadly had to return them to their previous owners. Anyhow, I was faced with my son's passion to replace the dog, and I embarked on a really determined campaign to try to find an alternate pet for him. And I did my work very thoroughly and finally discovered that birds were very popular. Anyhow, using my most skilled salesmanship, I approached my son and convinced him that a budgie would make a wonderful friend. And off we went to the pet shop. And we came home with the sweetest little blue budgie bird to our home. And we bought him a lovely cage, and he was free to roam out of the cage anytime he wanted. Bobby was thrilled with his new pet, and I was absolutely out of my mind that I didn't have to walk the bird twice a day. It was just perfect. At the very same time, the same period of my life, I was very involved in an organization called the Jewish Junior Welfare League. It was a volunteer group. And there was a French counterpart, which was called La Ligue de la Jeunesse Féminine de Montréal. We were very anxious to partner with them on a project. And finally, we decided to do a survey on arts in Montreal. I was named co-chairman of the group, and the French organization named Madame Sévigné as their representative. Madame Sévigné was a most distinguished woman. She was the wife of Pierre Sévigné, and I don't know how many of you will remember him. He was a member of Parliament, a very distinguished politician, but he also got caught up in the Greta Munzingers affair later on in years, for those of you who are young enough to remember. At any rate, one Monday morning, the phone rang, and it was Mrs. Sévigné. She used to call me regularly when we used to update each other on the progress of the report. And as we're talking, I have the phone in my hand, and Sammy, by the way, I forgot to mention, we named the bird Sammy. Anyway, Sammy flies out of his cage, as he usually does, and perched on my shoulder and starts pecking away at my ear to get my attention. I was very annoyed because it was important that I talk with Madame Sévigné, and with the phone in my hand, I turned to Sammy and I said, "For God's sake, Sammy, will they get the hell off of me?" And I returned to the phone. And Madame Sévigné said, "Excusez-moi, Sheila, je ne veux pas vous déranger, je vais vous téléphoner plus tard." And for a moment, I didn't know what she meant. "Oh, Madame Sévigné, c'est seulement un oiseau." "Ah, oui, Sheila, je comprends très bien." I got off the phone, I was dumbfounded. I really didn't know what to say. But it was interesting, in the months following, when we'd meet, I wanted so much to explain to her what happened. And before I could open my mouth, she'd say, "C'est pas nécessaire, Sheila, je comprends bien." But I'm very, very happy to report that the survey was very, very well received. And Sammy lived a full bluebird life. And when he died, we ceremoniously buried him in our backyard. He was really a wonderful pet. But I personally have never gotten over the feeling that I wish I could have explained to Madame Sévigné who Sammy really was, and that I was really very happily married to a man named Jack.